Hey guys, welcome back to the Addictively Speaking podcast. This is going to be the last episode of my first season of the podcast. So, this is going to be entitled hashtag goals. Um, and basically, I'm just going to get into some things about goals and, you know, what goals are for people in addiction and what goals are for people who are in recovery and just some goals for the podcast for the future. And yeah, we're just going to talk about some stuff like that. So basically, uh, in addiction, I mean, you have one goal, and that's to get as shitty as possible, as fast as possible. And that is by however, means necessary. So I can remember being uh, in my addiction, and my only goal was to be as drunk as possible, as fast as possible, without using my own money. I would manipulate people to buy me drinks. I had friends that I would go out with, and they were always absolutely astonished at how I could go out with $20 and be the absolute drunkest person in the room. And that comes down to being able to manipulate situations or to be able to get people to buy you drinks or figure out how to game people into getting what you want. And I think in addiction that's what people you get really good at, being able to maximize a situation or to be able to figure out how to get what you want and not have to pay for it or do things. That's why people end up trading, favors for drugs and alcohol and things like that because, you know, everything's a form of currency and a way to get something that you want, especially when it comes to addiction, is that you focus intently on trying to get what you need. And if what you need is to be completely shitty, then you'll figure out how to do it. And then that's your goal. Your goal the whole time is to get that drunk or get that high or get it's the only goal, and nothing else truly matters. And you don't actually have like life goals or anything like that. Nothing else seems important. There are no other goals outside of your addiction. Your addiction dictates that goal and that goal alone. And all you have to do is to satisfy that goal is to get that next drink, to get that next fix. You have to constantly chase it. And even when you accomplish it, there's no reward. You know, the reward of waking up in jail because you've done something stupid, but you've accomplished that goal of being so drunk. And that's your reward, jail. It's a shitty reward when it comes to accomplishing a task or accomplishing a goal. Um, it's quite devastating to your life and kind of not the goals you want to be chasing or setting for yourself, really. But you spend a lot of time in addiction, and that's all you're doing is figuring out how to accomplish that goal repeatedly. And I spent 10 years, or 11 years, um, just focused on that one goal. I had no other goals. I had no other ambitions. There was no drive in my life. I had no aspirations. I didn't want to go anywhere or be anything. Most of the time, I was hoping that, it would be it. That would be it. It'd be over. And I wouldn't have to deal with, you know, life anymore. Or I wouldn't have to, keep repeating this situation I was in. Um, but then, as I came into recovery and things like that, I started to realize a lot about myself. And, when you recover, you come out of it and it's so much easier to like have goals and have dreams and aspirations and things you want to achieve and places you want to go and things you want to see, because you get this huge moments of clarity, like where things start to become a lot clearer and you can kind of figure out what type of goals you want to put in place. I mean, obviously the main goal in your life then is to remain substance free, to remain, not using, staying sober. That's the goal. That's the beginning goal. And that's all you need to do is to stay sober. Because once you stay sober, you can start to accomplish other things like hold a full-time job, be able to pay your bills and live a life that doesn't revolve around your other goal, which was only to be as fucked up as humanly possible at all times. So now, living in a sober life, I started to set goals for myself and things to accomplish. It was weight loss in the beginning, it was going to the gym, it was running, it was things of these natures where I would just kind of, push myself to see if I could do certain things or achieve certain things. Like I started out wanting to run a 5K. I never ran a 5K before, so I decided, these are things that I could accomplish, and then I started applying these things to my other aspects of my life, like getting a job, and then trying to figure out how to navigate being promoted and achieving things, and then setting myself up to build myself up to the place where I can see a future in my life where I could build these things for myself. And these were all goals, get married, have kids, um, you know, be a, be a fully functioning adult in my life. And it took me till I was 31 to start seeing these things come to fruition, and to be able to be sober long enough that I could set these goals and then knock them down. And funny enough, I've found that my addiction, my personality, my addictive personality, my moderation um, helps me to, and I'm not saying it like it's a good thing because I can't moderate things, but I can super focus on stuff um, and really go hard on achieving a goal or smashing an accomplishment. I put a task in front of myself and then I just kind of go, straight forward. I did it when I was training jujitsu and things like that. First I decided, I was going to start doing mixed martial arts and, you know, humble myself from being this big bar tough guy to actually putting myself in a situation where I wasn't as tough as I thought I was, and then pushing myself to compete in tournaments and pushing myself to, do things like that on a competitive level on a regular basis for several years. The same with running, doing 5Ks. Then I did a 10K when I moved to the, or when I, yeah, when I moved to the UK, I did a 10K, my first 10K. And another thing where you just set these goals for yourself and then you have to push yourself harder and further than you thought you could. And it's the same in recovery, is that like once you're in recovery you have to push yourself harder and further than you thought you would go so you can stay sober on a continual basis. Like you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and to do things that aren't comfortable. um and I think now, um I've kind of got to a space where I can do these things and I can push myself. And I started this podcast and I thought, you know, it's not it's not easy to do, and it's really a lot easier not to do it. But if I don't push myself and I don't set a goal and you know try to chase it and achieve it, or to make it become real, I really haven't done anything positive with myself. And I felt like doing this, I had to push myself and get outside of my comfort zone, because what I'm doing could help people. It could help other people in recovery. It could show people in recovery that, you can set goals, you can smash them, you can achieve them. That's why I decided that I wanted to do um, like sober shout outs, which I just started on the YouTube, and I'm making reels out of them and things like that, because I feel like people need to get shouted out for their achievements and their, they're smashing goals. Like, you get a year sober, and that's a huge accomplishment, and I think in AA and NA, it's anonymous and stuff like that, and those people get to celebrate amongst themselves, and they don't really get shouted out in the community, and made, make people aware of these huge goals and these things that people have accomplished. Because being an addict, it's not easy to go 365 days without using, or without trying to, you know, relapse, or fall back into your old patterns, because it's so much easier to just do what you were doing than it is to spend 365 days not doing what you were doing. So I want to shout out like those people, and all these people in recovery that are smashing these goals, whatever they may be, in their personal lives, in their professional lives, or whoever, because that's what it's about, is positivity. It's uplifting people, and goals, man, they're huge. Um, before, when I was in addiction, I didn't have any. I didn't have any focus. I didn't have anywhere I was going. I didn't have a future. I never saw a future. Um, and now I have a life. I have a future that I plan for, that I dream of, and accomplish things that, yeah, I never dreamt were possible. I mean, starting a family and having kids and stuff like that was huge to me. That was a huge dream. That was a huge goal. It was a huge accomplishment, because it's what drove me forward in my recovery, was that thing in life that I desperately wanted, was a family of my own, kids of my own, and now I have that, and that's huge for me. It's a constant reminder to wake up every day and just be grateful that you're sober, that you're giving him the best possible version of you. And I'm not perfect, and I struggle, and I have these quirks, and I have these things, I have anxiety and depression. You know, I'm a bit of a broken person that has all these quirks about him, but I work really hard, and I try really hard to be the best possible version of me, and to leave something for my kids afterwards that they can look at and be proud of their father for any one of my things that goals I've accomplished, or just to be able to show them, like, we're going to, Arlo's going to get to see me run this half marathon, and hopefully, one day he'll understand that that is something that is achievable. If you just set your mind to it, you can do it, you can smash it. It's, not out of your reach. Things aren't out of your reach as long as you push yourself to them. So that's what I've been doing, is just setting goals and accomplishing them. And I think in recovery, that's huge, because you kind of like chip away, and you build this new foundation of being able to set goals and accomplish them, and strive to be better, strive to help. Like, I'm striving to give back, I'm striving to expand this podcast. I'm grateful for the people that I've come in contact with, that have been so receptive and positive about what I'm doing. It's been huge, and I have people behind me pushing me, giving me feedback, and helping me to give you guys like better quality content every single time I'm out there. I'm trying to do this at a high level. I'm not trying to make money. I don't really care about that. But I do care about my sobriety and other people's sobriety, and giving them hope. And that's a powerful thing, is hope and positivity, and just a way to see that there are people out here doing great things, achieving great things. Your dreams aren't silly, they're not stupid. You can accomplish them. You can go out there and just do what you set your mind to. So next year, or next season, next year it is. I mean, I've only been doing this since October. So I'm looking at, this is going to be the 11th episode. I'm looking to do another season of 11 episodes, which will add up to my first two seasons will be 22. My sobriety date is the 22nd of January. So I decided that kind of thing, a little numerology. But yeah, so I'm going to try to do another 11 episodes for the next season. Hopefully, I'll go through and get some more guests. I'd like to get more professionals on here to talk about, drug rehabilitation centers, alcohol and addiction counseling, mental health, um, things like that. I do have goals for the podcast that I'm setting up. Looking to get a more professional logo done in the future. I've been put in contact with somebody who's going to do a more me type of logo for the podcast. So that'll be huge because it'll be a more professional look for what I'm going for. I also have a lot of people in my life that are helping me with feedback. My brother has been huge on listening and giving feedback and helping me to pursue this, perfect it, and to just give you guys better stuff to listen to and watch on the YouTube and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is huge. We're looking at another 11 episodes. Hopefully, I'll flush it all out in the coming weeks here. And I do have some people that have been in contact about becoming guests on the show and to share more stories of people in recovery, people that have come out of their addictions and they're in a better place and willing to share their story. So hopefully, I'll get a couple more guests on in the next season, and we'll just continue, you know, building and expanding, and hopefully this will just continue and continue on. And we'll keep giving you the best possible quality content we can about addiction, recovery, and every topic in between. We'll hopefully touch on some things that we haven't touched on before in the next season, and we'll just continue to do this. So I'd just like to thank you guys and thank all the people that have supported me. I've had a lot of positive outreach lately on Facebook. People have been messaging me. Really appreciate all the support. I'd like to thank ABJ. I'll be on his podcast in April. So that's Anthony Blackwell Jr. He has a podcast. It's on all the time. He's always dropping reels. He's dropping promo. The guy's a great guy, solid dude. He's helped me tremendously through this process. So I want to shout ABJ out. Check out his stuff. He has it on YouTube. Um, so yeah. So also my friend Jamal, uh, he gave me some intro music and outro music. He's always, supporting me, giving me feedback. My brother, my wife, my kids, and my family over here in the UK all been hugely supportive of this project and this process. So we're just gonna keep on doing what we're doing. And I thank you and I appreciate you. And this has been hashtag goals.